Okay, so first of all, you're going to need to open up Sketchbook Pro, so find that app, launch it, and at the bottom left hand side you'll see a little plus. If you click that, that's what will help you set up your next canvas or work area. Choose the second option. If you look at the right hand side, it gives you an idea of how many layers it's possible to use, and also if you look on the left side, it gives you an idea of sizes. Now, when you launch a new page, at the top of the screen on the menu is a little paintbrush, and that will give you access to effectively your pencil case and all the tools that you will need to use within this app. So you can see there, we're just scrolling through a variety of lots and lots of different tools and effects and stamps and mark making possibilities. So do have a good look through that huge selection of tools and have a good play around. You'll learn an awful lot by just having a bit of fun, checking things out, making mistakes initially. That's the best way to do it. Now, above the tools there are some sliders, two sliders, one to adjust the size of the tool that you're using, and the second which will adjust the opacity. And the opacity is basically like transparency, so it will determine how strong or transparent the tool that you're using will be. So it's a bit like lightly pressing down with your pencil, that will be low opacity, to pressing down really hard with your pencil or paintbrush, and that will be 100% opacity. Now on the right hand side of the toolbox you've got your colour palette, and there are two things to note, or three things really, but two main things. Firstly, in the middle, that diamond shape, that gives you access to tones, shades and tints. So if you want a shade of a colour, you can go from left to right. If you want a tone of a colour, you go from top to bottom. And then circling that area is the spectrum of colour, which is your colour picker. So basically what you do is you choose a colour that you want to use on the outside, and then on the inside you determine the strength, tone, shade or tint of that colour that you've selected. Once you've found something you're happy with, then obviously you can just start using that. Now underneath that there are some sliders, so you can fine tune and select the colour exactly. And note there are some numbers at the end of each of those sliders, and that's quite important, because if you select or use a particular colour, if you make a note of those numbers, you'll be able to then choose exactly the same colour again. The tools panel on the left will flip around. You'll see a little button just underneath the display there, and these tools and they're all sliders. They'll let you fine tune the tool that you're using, so you can tweak the tool and customize it so that it's unique and personal to your needs. So again, it'd be good for you to have a play around in there. So here we are. We've got a blue paintbrush, and that's I've just had a thin tool, and now we've made the tool a little bit more solid, and now I'm selecting on the hard button at the top there, and that's the same tool but with the hard function selected, and you can see those three functions underneath the display. So just by faffing about with those sliders, you'll be able to basically set up the tool specifically to how you want it. So if you can do this yourselves, have a play, select a tool, paintbrush would be a good one to get started, choose a colour, and then see what the different effects are. The tools are all pressure sensitive as well, so the harder you press down, the stronger and heavier and bigger the paint will be. The lighter you use it, the less paint will be applied to the canvas, and the smaller and thinner and fainter the paint will be applied. Now, up at the top right corner is your layers function. I want you to pull in a new layer and then turn off the first layer's visibility, and basically choose a different colour. Similar sort of task or idea. Have a play with the sliders, and then experiment and explore what different marks can be made from adjusting those settings. You've got noise, you've got squish, you've got angle, you've got jitter, and by adjusting them, it'll give you a live preview in that window at the top of the screen. So keep your eye on that to see what you're actually doing to the tool before you use it. I'm going to choose a bigger paintbrush this time, and in fact I'm going to choose the felt tip pen instead. Different colour. Now I'm going to bring in another layer, turn off the visibility of the previous layers, and then let's see what the felt tip pen can do. So really, your first task is just to have a play around. And when you turn on all the layers visibility, you can see there that you've got all three tasks layered on top of one another, so you can see them all at the same time. Now, what I'm going to do next is, we've just explored, we've had a bit of fun. I'm going to open up a new page, and you can save that or you can take a screenshot of it, but I've chosen not to. I'm going to open up a brand new page for the first specific task that I want us to do today, and it's very simple. I want you to draw a cube. So we're going to do some sketching and some drawing. So we're going to use the pencil now. You might have noticed at the bottom of the display there's a little circle. If you press that, it opens up some quick access to your tools, and it'll display all the tools that you've most recently used. That's quite useful to know, so that you don't need to keep going back into the main toolbox to find the specific colour that you used or the specific tool, because they will all display automatically on that panel there. And you can customise that too. You can drag tools to it to stick in that central area. So we're doing some pencil work, so I'm going to change the colour to black. And here we are. So I'm going to just start off by writing some words at the top, so annotating the work, what it is that I'm using here. Pencil tool. It's always good practice to sort of annotate your work as you go along, especially when you're doing development tasks like this. Also, what's good to do is to write the date or include the date somewhere on your work, so there's a record of when the work took place. And then when you screenshot your work, or if you're just exporting the work as an image, and when you put it into your design sketchbook, you don't then need to add dates later on. So sketching a cube, start with the letter Y, and then give it some sides like so, a bit of perspective as well. So in other words, the cube gets slightly smaller as it goes to the distance. Okay, so there's the cube. Next job is to give it some shade, some tones. So usually on a cube, when you look at it like this, you end up with three different areas using different tones each. So I'm just going to select now my first tone. It's going to be the darkest side first. So, and now for some practical skills, pinch the pad and to zoom into your work. It'll give you a lot more accuracy and control. That's what I've done here. So I'm just very loosely cross-hatching in my first tone of pencil. And it is a sketch, this doesn't need to be perfect, although please do try to aim to outdo me with quality and control. Remember, I'm obviously going fairly quick so that I'm not wasting your time on this tutorial. You can rotate the pad as well, and please do. It's just like holding a sketchbook. Make sure your hand position is in the same position as often as possible. So to do that, you will need to rotate the iPad. and it's perfectly okay to do that. The app will just rotate with you. So I've done the first panel, and now I'm going to go back to the colour picker, and I'm going to change the tone, make it slightly lighter in tone for my mid section. Again, zooming in, pinching the pad and zooming in with 2 fingers, and then very quickly, very loosely, very sketchily, block fill and cross hatch in that area that we need to fill in. Zoom in and out, so you can see how it's all looking. Don't just stay zoomed in on your work all the time. It's important to look at your work from a distance to see how it's all coming together. So now for the top part of this cube, it's going to be the lightest area. So once again, I've changed the tone of the pencil, made it even lighter, and now I'm just going to apply my final layer of cross hatching to that section. Okay, so there's the cube. It's a sketch. Okay, that's all it is. And the point for this is to give you the practice of creating your first illustration with a degree of control and a degree of focus. This will hopefully help you get a bit more confident about using the iPad, certainly this particular app, Sketchbook Pro. So what we're going to do next is we're going to give the cube somewhere to sit. We're going to give it a background. So typically what we would do is we would draw in place some sort of surface on which to create the illusion that the cube is actually sat on something. So I've chosen a completely different colour in contrast to the colours I've used. And then I'm going to draw this directly on top of my work. I've opened up a new layer, so it's not working on the same layer as the cube. And very quickly, look, just get some sketch down onto the area. Just fill it in really quickly. What you're trying to achieve here is like a mesh or a web, a strong mesh or web of pencil line, of marks. And then when you go back to your layers, look, if you click on the right hand side, it'll pop up, and then you can drag it down, and that'll allow you to rearrange the layers. And in doing that, that'll then put that background behind the cube, which is what we wanted. And that saves an awful lot of time, obviously, because you don't need to carefully draw around your objects. It's very important that you remember to use layers when you're working like this, because obviously if you don't, it's going to be very time consuming. So it's a real time saver. Okay, so that's the task finished. I'm just going to add a few comments on the same page as there's some space to do so. Just explaining what it is that I've created. You've got choices here. You can either do the same, but if you do, please try and write with a little bit more care than I'm demonstrating here. Or you can leave it, and then you can add comments on top of your work or alongside your work directly inside your design sketchbooks later. So what's next? Well, we need to save that now to as a picture in itself to the iPad. So you click the 4 boxes top right, and it'll give you an option to save your works. Obviously that's what you need to do. So click the save button, and that'll save a copy directly to your gallery page here. Look, and you can see it there at the top right left hand corner. Now if you click it once to select it at the bottom of the iPad, you can then export or download it to various different places. You've got your photo library, iTunes, Flickr, all those different places you can put your work. So it's that little flower with the arrow pointing to the right. I'm going to put it in the photo library because later on I'm going to upload it into my G Drive account. Remember, we need to save as much space as possible on Dropbox for your design sketchbooks. So now I've opened up my Google Drive account and I'm going to upload that picture now I've saved it directly into my Drive account. You might have noticed that I had some folders, and making folders to store stuff with some sort of order would be a good idea. Now, the upload function is accessible via a little tool on the left, and a window will pop up, and then you click the little plus, and then you select the item of work that you want to upload into Drive, and then finally click the blue tick. That'll then begin to upload the work from the iPad and put it into your online cloud storage, being Google Drive. So you've got it there as a backup now. You know, you don't have to worry if you destroy the iPad or the iPad breaks or whatever. Now, before I finish this task, I'm going to modify that same piece of work. So I've now opened up Snapseed, and this is what I want you to do. Go to Snapseed, and at the top left-hand corner, you'll see the little camera, and that will allow you to select pictures, which is what I've done. And the first tool I always try to use on Snapseed is the automatic function, because it sort of cleverly automatically tries to regulate your work. There are two key functions, contrast and colour, which you can adjust. If you see the slider moving about at the bottom of the screen there, that's me adjusting both of those sections or tools just by sliding the iPad from left to right. Once you're done, there's a little button at the bottom right corner called Apply. You click that, and then it'll apply those settings that you assigned. And having done that, it'll then pull you out of that particular setting, and it'll return you to the main menu. The next one I particularly like is the one called Tune Image, because this gives you a number of different ways to further enhance the picture. So there's the brightness, for example, here, which you can adjust. The ambience is a nice enhancement. The contrast, so that's whether it's strong or dark, and the saturation is the amount of colour. The white balance is how the light affects your work, and that's quite cool. And here, look, I've managed to adjust the white balance so that it actually now looks a bit more monochromatic, like a pencil would. Another couple of enhancement tools here. We've got grunge, which will give your work some texture. You've got filter strength. Oh, actually, sorry, no, this is the drama. So this is to add drama to your work. If it isn't dramatic enough, then you can add a little bit of drama here, again with saturation and filter strength. And then the next one is grunge. And the grunge is one that's got textures. There's a number of textures installed, look. So the idea is you select a texture, and if you're unsure which one to use, it just to the right-hand side of the scale at the bottom of the screen, you'll see the shuffle button, and that'll let you choose specifically a certain type of texture. So now I'm faffing about with the different settings within here. Contrast, and you've got texture strength. So how much of the texture do you want to be visible? And lastly, the saturation. And I quite like that. I'm quite fairly happy with that. So I'm going to keep it. I'm going to apply that now to that piece of work. And then I'm going to save that back to the iPad. At the bottom of this, underneath the picture, look, you'll see some functions. One of them is called Save. So if you click that, then guess what it does? Yep, it saves it to the iPad. So on the share button, you've got a few different ways you can share it. So you can access your Drive account directly from there, look. So this time it's taken me to this page and prompted me straight away to upload the file, which is quite clever because it saves me a lot of time. Now this next tool is I'm going to use called Pick Jointer, and this is to join the two pictures that I've created together so that I can then present them on one page in my sketchbook. Before I do that, I'm going to write up some notes. So I'm going to open up the Bamboo Paper app. I'm going to turn to a new page on my notebook, and now I'm gonna scribble down some annotation. I'm basically going to explain what I've done. So, you know, what is this work that I've done? And this is really what you ought to be doing for every piece of work that you create, or every exploration that you undertake, or every development that you do. So I'm writing here below my 2 edits of a very simple cube. I made the cube using Sketchbook Pro, so I'm making reference to the tools that I used. And I'm explaining why I did this. I did it to learn how to use Sketchbook Pro. And then I'm making reference to the 2 images. Image 1 and then image 2 I took into Snapseed and modified and enhanced further. And I could go on, you know, further and explain which particular modifications I undertook, such as the textures and the tune image tools, and so on and so on. So, I'm going to grab a screenshot of that. And remember to screenshot by holding down the home button and the on-off button at the same time. And then in Pick Jointer, I'm going to join everything together. So I'm going to select the one with 3 compartments for this. It's very simple to use. You've got some sliders which will allow you to adjust the size of the sections. You've also got other functions to modify how the sections appear, such as corners and backgrounds and colour. So once you've got it set up as you want it, you simply hit one of those big pluses to put inside your content. So the first bit of content is going to be my text. I'm just going to resize that and get it so that you can actually read it correctly. I might have to change the size, looking at that, of the 2 lower sections, which I think I'll do next. So I'll get that just about right so we can read it. And now I'm going to adjust the size there, look, so we can read the text and see the pictures all at the same time. So next I'm going to bring in my 2 pieces of work. So that is the first edit, and then that's the second edit, and it's as quick as that. So next you save that to your where you want it. I'm going to choose high quality because that's what I prefer, and I'm going to save it to my photo album. There are other options there. Look, you can send it out to Twitter or Facebook if you particularly want to show it off. That's an option you've got. So now I'm going back to I'm opening up my sketchbook in Design. Here it is. And so the next thing for me to do is to create my sketchbook page to show as evidence of this work. So I'm going to first of all take my sketchbook into edit mode by clicking on the edit pencil. Hold the screen near the top or bottom to pull up the main menu. And then on this new page that I've made with a picture section and a text section, you just click the little pencil in the middle and you go to your camera roll to find what it is that you want to put in there. So here it is, look. And it doesn't have to be completely viewable. You can zoom it, you can position it so that it fits nicely, because there are other sections. If you go to the pencil, one of the options is allow full screen. If you turn that on, it means that when you're viewing your sketchbook, there'll be a little button, a little plus button appear, and by clicking that you can then zoom in and see the entire piece of work, which is quite useful. So I'm just going to come out of edit mode now and click on the little eye to go back to view mode, and you can see the little plus there, and that will give me full access to today's work. That's it. That's all there is to it. That's your first task. That's what I'd like you to do. Good luck. I'll be around, obviously, to help you.